Welcome back, dear friends, to the course of carbon footprint, carbon budget, and climate justice. We would be discussing what efforts the United States of America is taking to reduce its carbon footprint. We said that the United States has a crucial role in reducing the emissions because it is one of the biggest emitter on a per capita basis. So, what efforts, what policy direction is United States moving to reduce the carbon footprint can be seen from the policy initiatives which are declared by the White House. So, one of the important measure the American economy is going to take to reduce the carbon footprint is it is aiming to decarbonize the electricity. That is, it has set a goal of 100% clean electricity by 2035. Now, how is it going to happen? We all know that basically electricity consumption on a per capita basis in the American economy is too high. And if that per capita consumption has to remain the same, but if it has to reduce the carbon footprint, then the only way is to shift towards renewables. So, by renewables, it means clean electricity. So, the transition to clean electricity system via the renewable technologies like solar and wind is the main agenda of decarbonizing electricity as stated in the policy document of United States. And this is to happen because the cost or the economic viability of solar and wind technologies uh, at present is good enough, and it is competing with the conventional technologies. Also, there are certain policy measures which would subsidize these technologies. So those policy measures we'll be discussing in the next lecture. The second way of reducing the carbon footprint in the American economy is by cutting down the energy waste. Now, cutting down the energy waste means using the energy more efficiently. How do we achieve this? So, we achieve this by shifting towards more efficient appliances. So, if the appliances which the consumers use they consume less energy per per appliance, then the consumption is obviously to come down. So this can be achieved by using the new technologies which use less energy for the same service or for the better service. It means that the services are not to be compromised. Only the energy required for meeting a service. It means that suppose you want lighting, what we want is not the wattage of the bulb. What we want is the light intensity and the comfort of lighting. Okay, so if this can be achieved with less wattage by using energy efficient lamps, then this is a welcome step. So this is the idea of basically cutting down the energy waste as far as reducing the carbon footprint is concerned. uh, Third is about electrifying the end users and switching to other clean fuels. Uh, what it means is that, for example, if you consider transport sector we use primary fuel, gasoline, for example, and that if you want to electrify, it means that we need to switch towards electric vehicles. And by switching to electric vehicles, and provided that the electricity is coming from clean fuels, then it means the carbon footprint would be reduced. Mind well that if you are switching to electric vehicles, but the electricity, if it comes from fossil fuels, then it is not reducing the carbon footprint. Okay, so for reducing the carbon footprint, what we need to do is that we need to electrify the end users and switch to other clean fuels. So this is the idea of the policymakers of the United States. So what the policy document says, published by the White House, it says that we can affordably and efficiently electrify most of the economy from cars to buildings and industrial processes. So wherever primary fuel is used in industrial processes, in furnaces, for example, we can electrify those. In areas where electrification presents technology challenges like aviation, shipping, and some other industrial processes, uh, the idea is to then shift to clean fuels like hydrogen fuel or by using some biofuels. Okay, so this is the idea like ethanol, biodiesel, and so on. So this is the policy direction that wherever possible, uh, convert the primary fuels to electrical energy driven appliances. So wherever we are using primary fuels, make sure that the electrification of that end users is done. As I said in the example of transport, or in the example of furnaces. If it is very difficult, there are technology challenges like in aeroplanes, shipping. There, you would then, instead of electrifying, we can use a carbon free hydrogen fuel or sustainable biofuels. Uh, Another way of reducing carbon footprint is by scaling up the carbon dioxide removal. In the 3 decades to 2050, our emissions from energy production can be brought close to zero, says the policy document from the White House. But certain emissions would still remain. Like what they acknowledge is there will be certain emissions, non CO2 emissions, especially methane emissions from agriculture, and it would be very difficult to decarbonize those. So if that is the case, if we cannot reduce certain greenhouse gases like non CO2 greenhouse gases, like for example methane from agriculture, then what can be done? So in order to reach net zero, then what we need to do is that we need to remove the carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. So this technology, this idea of removal of CO2 has to be implemented using technologies and processes which are proved and validated, okay, evaluated and validated, and also by scaling up land carbon sinks as well as engineer strategies. Okay, so these engineering solutions for fixing CO2, which are talked about these days, though there is a controversy about it, but there are a lot of technological solutions which are available, which basically talks about CO2 removal from the atmosphere, so that the agenda of going to net zero by 2030, which is the target for the United States, that can be achieved. Uh, Carbon footprint reduction, especially the reduction of methane and chlorofluorocarbons or hydrofluorocarbons and nitrous oxide, what can be done about it? So, according to the policy document of the White House, the non-carbon dioxide gases, so like methane and HFCs means hydrofluorocarbons, as well as nitrous oxides, they have a significant global warming potential. So, what could be done is that some options which are low cost options like implementing methane leak detection and repairing the oil and gas systems and shifting the cooling systems from hydrofluorocarbons to environmental friendly refrigerants. These are the technology options which the United States would pursue to reduce the carbon footprint. Uh, it also says that the United States is committed to the global methane pledge, where they are planning to reduce the global methane emissions by at least 30% by 2030. And the calculations show that this, if done, would eliminate the global warming by zero point 0.2 degree centigrade up to 2050. Okay, so what it means is that United States cannot reduce the completely eliminate the emissions from agriculture like that of methane, as also some non CO2 emissions. But what it plans is it plans to implement certain low cost options like implementing methane leak detection and repairing the systems which emit this non CO2 gases as also by shifting towards the environmental friendly refrigerants in the cooling technology. Okay, so these are the ideas for carbon footprint reduction which the United States is planning to pursue. Okay, so why do we learn this? Why to understand this? This gives us a clear idea of what the most emitting nation is planning to do, and this gives us the idea that in spite of the fact that they are not committed a lot, still some things are happening on the ground as seen from the policy document from the White House which we discussed right now. Thank you very much. How do they achieve this? What finance they are going to provide, that would be discussed in the next class.